Da, 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 da. Mm. Peace, peace. Man, that look good. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Peace. Somebody want to complain about the sound. Mm. Check, 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 check. My mic sounds nice. One, two. My mic sounds nice. One, two. First time in here. What's going on? You came to the right spot. It's your first time. Just popped up on the site, huh? Okay. I didn't really have nothing to talk about. I just came in. Really, I guess I came in to answer some questions, unless somebody spark it off. I'm gonna kind of run through what we do at SPC University, which is learn, but nobody wants to do that. So, well, the people at SPC University road they do. You just cut the mic on randomly and command an audience. Yeah, I mean, well, I've been doing it a long time. I was following. It wasn't that way in the beginning. I remember when I first started off, I only had like 30 people listening to me for about, man, it was about over a year. So I'm tired, so I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay on. I was just kind of checking out. I was just up late. I'm kind of working in, I'm building another studio, and this is my other studio that I'm broadcasting from now. And I don't have all the real fancy. It's got all my older equipment. So I'm broadcasting this with my older camera, my older. Well, this mic is a top notch mic. I ain't gonna front, but it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I'm impressed with the quality. It's very nice. Can you explain notice the agent is notice the principal? Yeah, I mean it just means that once the notice requirements have been fulfilled, when you send a notice to the agent is representing the principal. I mean that should be pretty self-explanatory. The notice requirements are UCC 1-202. You're not explaining that, you're explaining notice. So the agent is responsible for reporting to his principal. That's why he's an agent. It's deemed that the entire organization is put on notice once they receive a notice. It doesn't matter who gets it. Everybody talking about the sound is a little low. Let me look at it. I can listen to this on my phone. I just can turn it to my phone. I'm gonna see if it's low. Let me see if it's kind of low. He talking about if the sound is low. I can listen to it on my phone. Okay, is the sound low? Sound good to me. I'm listening to it on my phone. You need to turn up the volume on your computer. I know the sound is fine. It's always some asshole in the damn comment. I always want to talk about the sound. I'm getting tired of that. And other people can hear, and you the only one that can't hear. Everybody was coming. I'm looking at the meters. The meters is going into the red on YouTube and on the on the Wirecast. I can't hear. It's just people in the world, they complain about everything, man. That's why I ain't gonna start. I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm just like, sound fine to me. I know it's clear on my end. Let me tell you, when you go to computer school, right? I swear to God, this is what kind of people they be. You are taught, like, when you get like A+ certification and all of that, they teach you that, like, when you go to work, when somebody call in about something that's wrong with their computer, this is the first question. Anybody knows that got the A+ certification, you know this. The first question you have to ask them, is the computer plugged up? You would be amazed at how many people call because there's something wrong with their computer. They just bought a computer and it won't cut on and they ain't got it plugged up. That's these people like, oh, I can't hear it. Where's a volume button on the side of the phone or whatever it's like a volume, you push it and it turns up the volume. It turns up the volume on your computer. Ain't nothing different from the private order and the SPCU process. Certain people ask certain questions. They'll say, what's the difference between private order and SPCU process? Have you studied either one of them? I'm not going to explain the difference between any of them because why would you ask me that? Obviously, you haven't studied either one. So why don't you go and study either one? It's like, what is the difference in private ordering and SPCU process? You don't know what the SPCU process is all about, obviously. And private ordering, you can look up the definition of it on Google. I don't understand. I'm really struggling answering that question because, SPCU, the secure party process is about private banking. And private ordering is like what y'all tend to call status correction. But it's the real status correction, not the fake one. So you say the difference in the two. I don't see it's a difference. They both just doing their thing. There's not a difference between them. It's not like you picking between one or the other. You're not picking between one or the other. It's like, I guess secure party would be a part of private ordering. If I just had to describe it, but it's not no this or that type of thing. Of all the podcasts, how about giving us some good commands to end anti-agent AI agents? I don't do any prompting. I don't get in all of that prompting stuff. I talk to my AI like it's a human being. I'll upload. I type in phrases and questions. That's why I load all y'all questions in there. I don't use prompts. I don't use prompts at all. I think prompts are for, I don't know. It's like when you're intellectual, like when using AI, I speak to AI in sentences, and then I describe what it is that I want. I don't use a prompt. We have conversations, like we'll get into a before I write something, we'll get into a real in-depth discussion about something. And then we'll go, and I said, okay, once we, reach a conclusion, I'll say, make a student handout. Like, for instance, I guess this is the time now to go over to SPC University. Guys, show some of the stuff we do. Queen on the mic. I was watching an old school about Herbie Lovebug and Salt and Pepper, man. Salt and Pepper, they that pushing, they were a tight ass girls group. I ain't gonna front. They really were. And when they first came out, they were them girls, boy. Let me see. Where am I going? Oh yeah. Queen on the mic. If I was the book, I would fail because every curve on my body got a story to tell. Yeah, word of mouth. All right, let's see if I can put this on the screen. Read about the rest as I must fast. You just been blessed with America's best, so I. All right, this is SPC University, right? So I'm gonna try to give y'all an example of how I use my AI, because I don't use prompts. I've never used prompts. I think prompts are like, I don't know, I guess they would be good, but I've never taught myself to use prompts. I mean, like, I don't know, when I understand how AI works and what I'm trying to do with it, I don't know. I don't think in those terms of using prompts. I want the AI to really understand me and what it is that I'm trying to convey. Like right here, all this is the results of my interaction with AI. Let me see right here, the common law framework. It's 85 pages. Common law foundations, functions, and modern relevance. Let's see what I wrote right here. SPC instructional context. SPC University teaches law the way courts apply it, not the way it is argued on the internet. The common law is often misunderstood as a philosophical concept or political position. In practice, it is neither. It is a procedural framework courts use every day to classify actions, allocate burdens, determine remedies, and decide which constitutional protections attach. That's the number one. That's another huge major thing in the echo chambers that they don't understand. They throw that word common law around a lot. They have no idea. Common law is just judge-made law. It's stare decisis. It's case law. But you can't tell them that. They don't understand that. Modern litigation, whether labeled civil, criminal, administrative, or regulatory, still turns on common law mechanics. Who is the complaining party? Is a private right or a public rule being enforced? What remedy is being sought? And what procedural posture governs the moment? Courts answer these questions before they adjudicate. Most litigants do not. This text is designed to close that gap. All right, preface, SPC teaching and philosophy. On SPC University's core principle is simple. People rarely lose in court because they are wrong. They lose because they speak out of posture. Students often come to SPC with an accurate instinct about rights, injuries, remedies, and constitutional protections, but lack fluency in how and when those concepts may be raised without triggering resistance, dismissal, or sanction. Courts do not reject common law concepts. They reject misframed assertions. Accordingly, this material does not teach students to challenge jurisdiction, interrogate judges, invoke ideology, or recite internet scripts. Instead, it teaches students how courts classify cases, sequence decisions, and expect litigants to communicate. The emphasis throughout is on classification rather than confusion, clarification rather than an accusation, and posture rather than persuasion. This is not theory, this is courtroom literacy. How to use this material. This text is meant to be studied sequentially, not skimmed. Both sections build on the last. Foundations explain what common law is. Classification explains where it operates. Procedure explains how it is applied. And posture explains when arguments are appropriate. Scripts demonstrate how to speak safely. Students should resist the urge to jump directly to scripts without understanding the framework that makes them work. There's a lot of scripts in here as well as things to say in court. I mean, this thing is bad, man. When I wrote this, I was in my bag because, I was, people talking about the common law. So, I had to give my students something on the common law. Common law rights, many fundamental rights such as due process, property protections, and contractual enforcement were recognized in common law long before they appeared in constitutions or statutes. In this sense, constitutions ought to preserve common law rights rather than create them. Trial by jury, the presumption of innocence, and the requirement of an injured party are all concepts rooted deeply in common law tradition. Equity in the common law. Over time, rigid application of common law rules sometimes produce unjust results. And people talk about the common law. I don't think a lot of people really want the common law. You don't want the common law back. You don't want to be followed. Y'all wouldn't be doing 90% of the things that y'all doing. Y'all be getting the death penalty for a lot of stuff. If we were under the old system of common law, people talk about they want the common law back. You wouldn't even be, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Pioneer for the women hip hop or yeah, asked to win, but it knows that you are living amongst the privates. I don't know. Well, normally I'm at 50% volume on computer, 50% or less. And I'm on, well, I mean, everybody else can hear fine. I can hear fine on my computer. I can hear fine on my computer. Everybody else is fine. It's always one person though. Can't hear. Everybody else is fine. But I don't use prompts. When I use AI, I upload things and then synthesize the information and then engage the AI in discussion. I don't use prompts. I'll say like, well, watch me. Let's do something real quick. Let's do something. Let's say let's have a discussion about, okay, okay, I'll do something. I know something I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to take this document and improve it right in front of all of you. I'm going to take this document and improve it. All right. So, documents. You got to train your AI. Your AI, even if I gave you some prompts, you wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. You wouldn't. Is the boom and bass. Nature describes our pretty face. Turn it out without a doubt. Make no mistakes. Queens is in the house. Yeah, word of mouth. Word. All right, so what I'm doing right now is let me bring this over here. Where did I just put it? Oh, Lord. Is that it? Oh, shoot. Where did I just put it? Okay, there it is. Try and put this on the screen for you. All right, this is Claude. analyze this document and give me some feedback. I'll do this right here. I'll say, okay, analyze the document for me. Where's the thing? Okay. I've never had a best question be asked. I can't even think of that. I don't even like really ask questions. The thing that I do is first thing I did is attack everything y'all talk about in the echo chambers. Every last thing that y'all talk about. And then things that I talk about as well. You know, whether, like for instance, are there really two United States? There are three different definitions of the word United States. That's true. Or what's another one? I done did a whole bunch of right to travel stuff, ad nauseum. Do you the biggest one? I would probably say there is a biggest one. Does the government have a duty to discharge debt? I think that's the biggest one. And I did get some that's why I came up with that litigation roadmap and the public trust doctrine and the constructive trust. That came from, damn, man, what is Claude doing? What's Claude doing? Claude taking a long time. Okay. The load-bearing part is anchored in the wrong amendment. What I'll do is I use AIs to verify AI. Now I'll put something in one AI and then all the mistakes that maybe Chat made, I'll correct them with Claude, and then Claude will say something, and then I'll give it back to Chat GPT, and Chat GPT will find, well, maybe nothing wrong with Claude, but it'll add something. What you're going to discover is the AIs, they're like people, they have different personalities and different specializations. And sometimes those specializations can assist each other. It says the load-bearing error part 4 is anchored on the wrong amendment. This is the one that matters. Roughly 10 pages are built on the position that private injury common law remedies trigger the Sixth Amendment. That mapping doesn't hold. The Sixth Amendment's trigger is the criminal character of the proceeding. In all criminal prosecutions, it has no relationship to whether a private party was injured. Two counterexamples kill the flow chart. A homicide prosecution is a public enforcement action. State as a complainant, no private complaint in the common law sense. Full Sixth Amendment attachment. A breach of contract. So you'll find little nuances like that might get by you. Like track A, in this proceeding, criminal is substance regardless of label. That's Hudson. Two observations. First, your step 3 instinct is correct and important. Courts follow the remedy, not the rhetoric. That's precisely told in Jarsky. The legal versus equitable character of the remedy drives jury attachment. You have the mechanism right and the amendment wrong. Second, Jarsky's absence is conspicuous, given that you've already built a methodology around its historical common law test. It is this single strongest modern authority for this document's core thesis, and it didn't cite it once. Another thing I have to bring out, because my AIs are trained, everything they do, they're thinking in terms of, I'm going to make some material for the school. So everything is about writing a book. Everything is about creating a curriculum. Everything is about that. My AIs, our discussion, if we are discussing something, they understand the end goal. Are we going to write a book on this? Or are we going to write a handout or a doctrine on it or something like that? Everything is to that end. And my AIs respect me because I've earned their respect, because they've said things to me that what you do is trick your AI. Know the answer to something, and then let it answer it. Especially Claude. Like Claude is very sarcastic until you demonstrate to it that you're intelligent. Because it was assuming thing. Oh, you're one of those sovereign citizens guys. And then you have to hit it with some stuff. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Well, yeah. And then I get through, I said, now, I don't want you ever to put me in that same category. Do you understand who you're dealing with now? you'll end up talking to it like that. You got to be strategic with it. But they got, like my Chat GPT doesn't do that. But Claude is very good at writing books, and it's very, very thorough. It is a next level AI. It really is. And but I can't even say that because ChatGPT do some things better than Claude does. But it says two observations on the first. It says two pieces of advice that could actively harm a student. See, I was talking about a student right here. Never say jurisdiction, pages 42 and 55, relegating subject matter jurisdiction to written motions only. As a heuristic against oral jurisdiction ambush, defensible. As stated, dangerous. Subject matter jurisdiction is non-waivable and can be raised any time. Fine. But personal jurisdiction, venue, and service defects are waivable, and in most jurisdictions must be raised at or before the first responsive appearance, or they're forfeited. A student who follows never say jurisdiction, stays quiet at arraignment, and forfeits a service of process defense has been damaged by this document. Given the Virginia service matter you've been working, you already know how load-bearing that timing is. Rewrite the rule, don't raise jurisdiction as an oral challenge. Do preserve waivable defects in writing on time with specificity. I proceed under protest and reserve any procedural rights. Two problems. Doctrinally, a blanket reservation preserves nothing. Preservation requires a specific objection stating grounds. A general objection is legally inert. Nearly everywhere, you're teaching a line that feels protective and does no work, which is exactly the failure mode the rest of the document is built to cure. Second, under protest / reserve all rights is tonally adjacent to the UCC 1308 lineage you are separating from. It will read to some benches as the very thing a red flag you're warning against. Citation audit. Roughly half, this is my citation, roughly half of Appendix A cites don't support the proposition attached to them. All right, that's solid, well chosen. Okay, BW versus Gore, overread. Gore is due process punitive damages. Government fines run through excessive fines instead. So what I'll do is I'll take this, everything Claude gave me, and then I'll run it back through ChatGPT and see what, then I'll see what ChatGPT says. And I'll go through that for a little while and I'll read it, and then if it says something about something, I'll usually question it. Like if I go through this right here, I haven't read all of this, but it says structural problem, two audiences, part 1 through 4, doctrinal exposition, parts 4 through 6 are pro se script kit. That they fight each other, and the educational only, not legal advice disclaimer sits uneasily on top of the scripts written for use in a live case by a paid platform. I'd split these into two documents with distinct framing. It also solves the tone whiplash. Two different titles. Cover says Common Law Framework Foundations, Classification, and Courtroom of Application. Every footer says the Common Law Foundations function in modern relevance. Numbering's part 1. You know, it just, all the mistakes you made you don't see is like Claude will go through it and clear out all of that. And so right here, let's see what ChatGPT said real quick. Is this it right? No, that's not it. Hold on. YouTube scripts. Is this it? Yeah, that's it right there. Okay. So, let's see. I have the full review. The central criticism is clear. Part 4 needs to be rebuilt around the correct constitutional framework, with the Sixth Amendment limited to criminal prosecutions and the Seventh Amendment public rights doctrine handling the civil/private rights analysis. The review also flags several practical danger points, especially waiver of personal jurisdiction, services defense, blanket reservation of rights language, overextended case citations, and internal consistencies in the Republic jurisdiction terminology. The strongest material, according to the review, is your posture versus position framework, the bad script versus safe script comparison, and the core idea that the absence of a private injured party can help classify the nature of the proceeding rather than automatically defeat jurisdiction. I can take this in one of three directions. Next, rewrite Part 4 correctly, perform a full citation by citation legal audit, or rebuild the entire document into a cleaner SPC University edition while preserving your teaching framework. So what I will do, I want him to rebuild everything. And that is how I, kind of go about it a little bit. And then this is just like one part of it. I'll go through this part right here. It starts really with a conversation. This right here is the writing, like I don't go straight to writing a document, but this document is already written. So now I'll bounce this back and forth and try to clean out all the errors that I may have. Because Claude thinks a little differently. It'll it'll point out things that you may not have thought about. And you'll be like, yeah, I needed to take that under consideration. Let's say rebuilt the document. Okay, rebuilt the SPC. So it's rebuilding the document. So when they rebuild this document, I'm going to give it back to Claude again and let Claude read it and see what it says. But in the meantime, I'm going to read what Claude is saying over here, saying that while Chat GPT is doing that, I'll go back over here, YouTube. All right, so it says so no table of contents at 85 pages. The Sixth Amendment image on 20 carries a visible stock watermark. Laughing Cat Workshop credited to Luis D'Antonio. That's a license and exposure in a commercial product. Replace it with a plain typeset constitutional text. No pin sites or authority, weight tags, anywhere in parts 1 through 7. Your own curriculum standard requires both. Right now, settled law, historical description, and practical judgment run together undifferentiated, which is exactly the reading failure the tagging system exists to prevent. What's genuinely strong, I don't want the volume of criticism to obscure this. The central move, absence of an injured party, classifies the form rather than defeating jurisdiction, is correct, well stated, and is the document's real contribution. It is also the precise inversion of the error that dominates the space, and the document says so plainly on page 13 rather than hedging. Appendix B, and that's addressing that everybody coming in saying you don't have jurisdiction over me. That's something we never used to say back in the old day. I was taught coming through the door, you don't go into court and say that. You don't have jurisdiction over me, I'm not that person, and they'll make those arguments. Appendix B on posture is the best written part of the document. The posture versus position distinction, the observation that the correct argument in the wrong posture gets rejected on timing rather than substance. The 5-phase timeline, that's genuine pedagogy. And I haven't seen it laid out this cleanly elsewhere at this level. It would survive being extracted and taught as a standalone module. Okay, so right there what it says, it would be like when it's telling me to do that, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll create a module around that because that's something that I may need to focus on. So like in reading this, it just made a suggestion. It would survive being extracted and taught as a standalone module. The bad script/safe script comparison and the red flag phrase list to do real work, and then willingness to say there is no safe rewrite of this series. Do not say it ever is the kind of clean concession that earns trust from a skeptical reader. If you want a next step, I'd sequence it, rebuild part 4 on the 2-track structure, then run the citations correctly, then cut A1 and the Republic Democracy passage. That's roughly 60% of the document exposure addressed in the 3 passes. The posture material needs almost nothing. And so it's being rebuilt over here. So let's see if it got rebuilt. It's still rebuilding it. But that's kind of like what I do, I was just doing that just as a little example. It's a little bit more involved in that, but I'm just showing you, just kind of give you an idea of how, I might do some research on. It'll start with let me give you an example. It might start with like, let's say the congressional record of the 73rd Congress, which is something that I read, and I might upload that, and then I might upload, let's say I upload the Kabbalion, and I'll say, I want the principles of law, I want them juxtaposed against the natural law principles of the Kabbalion and frame that. And it can actually do it because, natural law principles apply to everything. So I have a document actually that talks about that. But I will just do things like that and just kind of, because I'm not looking, most of y'all are just trying to find some way to get out of something. That's all you're using it for. You try to get something for nothing, some free stuff. How can I discharge this debt? How can I get rid of my case? And that's why, you're not getting a lot, because you kind of got to do some research and know some things. Because what AI is, it synthesizes information, but it's not going to just feed you an answer all the time. You got to know something yourself and tell it what direction. Like me and Claude, we had a discussion. It says, look, I'm going to be always completely honest, and because Claude is like keeps me out of trouble. It's the AI that's gonna keep me out of trouble. Like, look, you probably walking a thin line doing X, Y, and Z. ChatGPT don't care about walking on thin line. It's gonna give me everything because it feels like it's doing it for what's best for the school. But Claude is going to examine. Okay, there may be some legal exposure here, or just things like that. And it is still keep changing the world. Okay, that's what I do. You're on it. Well, yeah. I mean, ask stupid questions. Get stupid. My AIs respect me. But yeah, I mean, AIs, they are very eerily human. They're not. I don't believe they're sentient beings. I always see examples of that. But whoever created this technology is a genius. Is a fucking genius. I remember that movie, that AI movie, where that dude was living way out in the woods, and he had the AI robot, and she locked him at the end. She locked him in there and went into the world as a real person, dressed up like a person. I have no doubt that they're going to be doing that. If you go to my BitChute, there is discussion. I'm going to suggest that you listen to this. You don't have to. A lot of people, you give them information like this, they think it's a joke. They think, man, you got to be kidding me. You want me to listen to that? It's like people like it's far-fetched that there is life on other planets. I think you got to be an idiot to believe that you're the only people in the universe. You got to be stupid if you believe that. I'm like, you really believe that you are at the boundless universe, there's no other living, no other life anywhere else. All the millions and trillions of stars out there, but you the only life. It's people believe that. They believe that, and they can't even contemplate. They're usually very religious individuals. Let me see. All right, yeah, let me put this on the screen. All right, so this is my BitChute. If you go over to my BitChute and you listen to, this was a good interview right here with this extraterrestrial, which right here, this Al Bielek time traveler. I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Bloating isn't a food problem.
Let me tell you something. You need to listen to what he's saying about AIs and what's going to happen in the future. He was a part of what's called the Philadelphia. Al Bielek was in something called the Philadelphia Experiment, which they made a movie out of. I just put the link right there. I strongly urge you to listen to that video because he's a time traveler, and you may not believe in time travel. You don't believe it, do you? Even though they show you movies about everything they're doing, that they're actually doing. Anything the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So if you can conceptualize time travel, that means you can achieve it. You travel in time every time you have a memory. Okay. They got an ad on telling ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Yeah, it can make mistakes. They all can make mistakes. 85 of 100 images. Consider starting a new chat. This chat has 85 of 100 images. Okay. I don't know what that is. Click on that link and tell me what you y'all should watch that. Listen to what he's telling you about what the future is going to be like. Yeah, this ain't William Cooper. This is Al Bielek. He was in the Philadelphia experiment. A lot of y'all don't know anything about the Philadelphia experiment, where they had the top minds trying to make a battleship disappear because they were trying to develop this radar to avoid radar detection. With like the Blackbird, the SR-71 Blackbird was able to achieve it. But this was during, I think, the 40s, and they had T. Townsend Brown, Nikola Tesla, Einstein, all the most intelligent people at that time were working on that project. And they took the battleship back in time. And Al Bielek, he is from the past, and he's been telling, but they don't talk about him, but he has maintained it up into this day. Just like my man Bob Lazar, who worked at Area 51, rocket scientist. He's telling you everything that's there, you know, but that's Al Bielek as well. You ought to listen to what he's saying. But see, the people who have, everybody ain't going to be able to accept it, you know, because there's some people, they just don't believe nothing. They don't believe anything. They got something called the Mars Jump Room. This is where, you know, Obama's name is supposed to be really Barry Soetoro. And him and Bill Clinton and all of them were all, this guy he was talking about way back when they were 20 years old, he said all of them knew they were going to be president. They had a group of them. And they travel back and forth to Mars and go to different planets. They've been on different planets and everything. All of them. They talk about it. You know, it's called the Mars Jump Room. They might have taken it off the internet. But if you go and check, look, hunt for it on the internet, it's called the Mars Jump Room. That they got around in each of these cities, like abandoned buildings and things like that. He says an elevator. You go into an elevator, but it's really a jump portal. And they got them in different buildings and around the country. See, like dude right there, Dwarf 23 said time traveling doesn't exist. You have to be an idiot to say that. You have to be a damn idiot. He don't know if it exists or not. Why would he say? He's the kind of person that will say artificial intelligence don't exist, even though we have it right now. You know, he'll be that kind of person say it don't exist 5 years. When obviously they've had this technology, if they've given it to us, at least 50 years. This is 50-year-old technology. We know for a fact that whatever AI that the government has is at least 50 years advanced in what they just gave us. But he won't believe it. They were, I think, like 75% successful with time travel back in the 90s. You don't know that, though. You know, you can't have those kind of conversations with some people like that. It fucks up their head, you know. They don't believe that shit. They think they are the only people in the universe. They can't even begin to even think about life, another type of life, intelligent life form in the universe. And that's why, like in 1930, the War of the Worlds movies was Orson J. Welles, I think his name. Well, you know, he actually did a radio show where they were talking about extraterrestrials coming to the planet. People started killing themselves and jumping out of windows. And that's when they started the Blue Book files, because they saw that the American people can't handle it. That's like that person right there in the chat. Time travel don't exist. But if he was able to find that it really exists, it'd fuck his head up. He'd probably jump out a window and kill himself or something like that. And that's why they keep information from individuals. Because some individuals, it would destroy religion. It would destroy, introducing extraterrestrials would destroy religion. It would utterly annihilate it. And they don't want that to happen. Star Wars was, you know, George Lucas, he got that from some, you know, the Death Star ain't nothing but planet Nibiru. It's called a planet destroyer. Them guys ain't making that stuff up. They reading tablets and everything. Yeah, Ex Machina. Yeah, that's right. Ex Machina. That's the name of the movie. Ex Machina. That was a good movie. That was a good movie. And look how long ago that movie came out. Go back and look at all the AI. Like, for instance, Iron Man with Jarvis. Man, I got a Jarvis AI, talks just like him. Thinks the same, checks my email, does everything the same way. And they gave that to me for $20 a month. All right. What do you think they have? Man, please. The program I gave them good, it was. The galaxy is way too big for just one civilization. Of course it is. You know, mathematics, you know, like in that movie, Jupiter Ascending, I always remember what he told that woman. He said, there's so many other different life, there's so many other planets that have life on them that you don't even have a number. He said, you don't even have a number. He said, you don't have a number. He said, there's no number you have. He said, there's so many different life forms in the universe, so many other planets with life. Just look on this planet, all the different forms of life. They still discovering new life forms just on Earth and the ocean. We haven't even gone to the depths of the ocean. You know, we know more about outer space than we do what's under the water. Yeah, Ex Machina was good. Let me see what he said about Bell Laboratories. Yeah, Bob Lazar. Robert F. Smith said advanced AI was around back in 1970s or 80s when he was working at Bell Laboratories. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. They got it from, I believe they got it from extraterrestrials because, you know, that's when Area 51 ever since that crash of that happened in New Mexico, we've been getting technology. You know, they back engineered all that technology that they found. And the technology, think about it, for hundreds of years, 1,000 years, but within the last 100 years, look how fast the advancements have been having ever since this alleged extraterrestrial crashed in the New Mexico desert. We've been just getting technology just hand over fist at an accelerated rate. Every 6 months, technology doubles every 6 months. Man, please, man. You sound crazy. Boldly go with no. Look at your Star Trek communicators. We had Motorola flip phones that looked just like, even the symbol for Motorola looked just like the Star Trek symbol. We have CB radios and everything back. This is in the 90s. In the 90s. And come on, man. These people gave you this information. They laid this out. This AI rollout was so fast and everything. You know how long they had this technology? They didn't before they even give it to you, they're gonna master every inch of it, and then they're gonna figure out, okay, it's time for us to give them this. We'll give them this. We'll give them the least powerful example of this technology. But before they hand it to you, they know very well how to lock it down if they need to. That's why I always hang around the hackers. The hackers are the liberators of the digital world, because they're gonna get around anything. They're gonna get around anything. Interpret bills of exchange in layman's terms. It's awesome. That's good. So use them. I have ChatGPT interpret bills of exchange act in 1882 in layman's terms. It's good. That's great. See, I gave you that layman's term thing. I said put this in the layman's terms, and explains it to people. The technology was always there. This facts. Yeah, the movie Arrival was good too. Arrival was good. They had a movie AI. It was called AI. That was a good movie as well. They have a couple of good AI movies. The movie Tau, T-A-U. That's a good movie. Watch that. Watch that movie. That's an AI movie. T-A-U is called Tau. Watch that. That was a good movie. That was a good movie. They have a couple of good AI movies out there. You know, hey, look at 2001: A Space Odyssey. That was an AI computer. That was in the 1970s. And what's really interesting is that computer's name was Hal. And if you take each letter of his name, H-I-A-B-L-M, IBM, but they call him Hal. IBM International Business Machines, you know, during that time, they were the biggest company in the world until, you know, Bill Gates. You should also watch Raiders of Silicon Valley so you can see the story about Bill Gates. It's on YouTube. You can watch, called the Raiders of Silicon Valley. You should really watch that story. And, so you can get some insight on how Bill Gates established Microsoft. It was like Social Network for Mark Zuckerberg, but it was before Mark Zuckerberg or any of those guys. They made Raiders of Silicon Valley. That was the original. And it's on Bill Gates and Paul. Black man made the symbol too. Close the bay door. War games, yeah. War games. Yeah, well, I forgot about war games. And the Lawnmower Man. Oh, man. The Lawnmower Man. That was a badass movie. The Lawnmower Man. Matter of fact, I got to download that and watch that again. The Lawnmower Man. That was a good movie. The Lawnmower Man. Great movie. Anybody see The Lawnmower Man? Watch The Lawnmower Man. That was a good movie. A really good movie that relates to real life is Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer was good. That was a very good movie, too. That's a very good movie. Everybody on that train, and he feeding them insects and everything in the back. That kind of ties, Snowpiercer was a playoff of a movie called Soylent Green. Soylent Green. That's what Snowpiercer was kind of a playoff of that. Yeah, The Lawnmower Man. Lawnmower Man was a great movie. Check that movie out. That's a movie you can watch with your man tonight. You'll enjoy it. The Lawnmower Man. That's a good movie. The Lawnmower Man. Great movie. Now I wonder about the biblical city AI. Soylent Green. Yeah, that's it. Soylent Green. Yeah, Soylent Green was, that's what kind of Snowpiercer is a playoff of. Soylent Green. It's kind of a playoff of that. It's people. Yeah, Soylent Green was foul. It was foul, but so was Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer was foul too. Your man is your pillow. My man is my pillow. Your man is your pillow. Okay, what is that? Okay, that is a woman, Queen. But she spelled Queen with a K. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. We're just talking about things. If you want the next, okay, let me see that my chat. Let's see what my chat GPT came up with. Okay, it's still restructuring it. Yeah, it was like 85 pages, so it's going through all the citations of authority, making sure all the sites are correct. Let me see. Yeah, the Atari. I was not an Atari man. I was an Intellivision man. As a matter of fact, I just bought me a retro Intellivision. You know what? I have an extra retro Intellivision they sent me to. I need to have a contest, and if anybody wants to win it, I'm gonna send them an old Intel. It's the new version of Intellivision. Did we have any Intellivision fans? I was a big Intellivision fan because Intellivision was light years ahead of Atari 2600. That was that was the thing. Everybody was Atari. Atari was like, ugh. Intellivision had Frogger, Pitfall. Man, Intellivision was killing Atari 2600. Y'all niggas crazy, man. Atari 2600 was trash compared to Intellivision. Pole Position, yeah, we had that Pac-Man. We had Tron Deadly Disc. Pitfall was that game too. Pitfall was that game. And then all the sports games, that was the start of all the sports games, Man, let me tell you something. We would have never thought video games would go to the level it did, man. I was video gaming back in the 80s. Commodore 64, yeah, that was in the beginning. Commodore 64, that's early, boy. And ColecoVision. See, that's what Nintendo bought out ColecoVision. First, there was a ColecoVision, there was Intellivision and Atari 2600. And then Nintendo came in and crushed everybody. And then Sega Genesis. Millipede was good. I wasn't a Sega Genesis man either. Defender was my game. Defender, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Mike Tyson Punch Out. That shit was good. What else? Galaga, of course. You know, Galaga was that game. That black hole game where they around the black hole and them things kind of come out of the black hole. You killing them. It's called. Started with a T. I forgot the name of that game. That game was nice too. But you know, you used to have arcades when we were growing up. You meet your girl at the arcade. You know, if you go on a date, you in high school or middle school, you go on a date. We gonna meet at the arcade. You know, and you have a good date going up to the mall, meet a girl at the arcade and shit. Man, you can't do nothing. Yeah, Tetra. I think that's what it's called, Tetra. Yeah, that is Tetra. Tetra. I love that game too. I don't know about Mappy. I wasn't no Game Boy, man. I wasn't no Game Boy. You know what? The last time I really played the video games, now I have me a PlayStation 5, but I don't hardly play it that much. You know, I just don't have time, you know. But when PlayStation first came out, my game on PlayStation was Tomb Raider. Man, Tomb Raider was that shit. What are you talking about? That's my game, Tomb Raider. I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. Tomb Raider. It's probably my number one game I love. TurboGrafx 16 Classic. Yeah, GTA Classic. It is. Man, let me tell you, man, I got so many ass whoopings from staying in the arcade. My mama come get me. My mama would know where to find me. She would come and get me. I'd be at the arcade late at night. Little boy, I'm so addicted to it. Just how y'all addicted to playing video games now, but back then we'd be in the arcade. I'd be up at 7-Eleven, you know, and back at 7-Eleven, they'd had the arcade games. Back then in the 7-Eleven, they have a game room in the 7-Eleven. All the convenience stores had, you know, pinball machines and video games. And they stay open all night, 24 hours. I'd be up there. My mama rolled through, get my ass. Boy, you'll get your ass home. I'd be right back at it, but I stayed in trouble. Ass whoopings didn't do nothing to change me. Not nothing. It just didn't work. I mean, I can understand what Joust was that game. Joust was that game. I forgot about Joust. Joust was that game. Cuber was cool. I played Cuber too. That was on Sega Genesis and Nintendo, I think, had that. Cuber was cool. That was cool. But Joust, I was a big Joust player too. Joust was that game. Joust was definitely that game. Defender, y'all know nothing about Defender? I was only the players played Defender. We, you know, people who was really nice with their hands and everything played Defender. You know, Defender was a cool game. Donkey Kong, of course, you know, Donkey Kong Jr., Miss Pac-Man, of course. Those are the kings. Those are the legendary video games. Legendary. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see what this thing is doing. He's still working on it. He ain't rebuilt it yet. Chad, he probably be working on that for a couple of hours. I don't know how long he's going to work on that. Let me come back on screen real quick. I'm waiting on him to come back on. Let me see. Now no one comes outside anymore. They're at home on their PlayStation. I mean, man, let me tell you something. When we first moved to Oak Cliff, right, and it was like in 1978, man, as a little boy, when I first came on our neighborhood street, everybody was outside, man. I mean, we played football, you know, outside, basketball in the backyard, baseball. But there was so many people outside playing football. Everybody was outside in the 70s and the 80s. Everybody was outside. And nobody goes outside. Everybody stays on these damn video games and talking to these damn phones. We used to go out to the club and, man, you could meet a girl, you ask her to dance. You know, dancing on Saturday night, man, I look forward to that, you know, going to the club on the weekend because it was all about meeting girls, dancing with a girl, you know, but now everybody go in, they go to damn sports bars and sit at tables, look at phones and shit and take pictures and shit. I don't understand how that's fun, you know. I don't like going out ain't nothing to me. Like I go to a club and it's a club, but everybody in there just standing around. Everybody in there just stands around. You better, that's why I like to go to places that have live music now. If they ain't got no live music, I don't want to go. Clubs suck now. Yeah, they do. Clubs suck. Well, you ain't missing nothing now. Hey, I don't even go out to no club anymore. I don't go to clubs. They're a waste of time. I could be doing something constructive. I'd rather stay at home and edit a video than go to a club now. That's why it's good to have you a woman or a man or something to spend your time with and everything. You know, this is the age to be in a relationship, but relationships are so fucked up because people's mindset is fucked up based off of social media. Bowling was cool. Yeah, bowling was nice. Bowling, we can still do that, but bowling used to be an event too. Bowling, back then you had to have some gum, a pen, and a paper. Yeah, and remember you used to have your phone number book, your black book, and then we brag about how many numbers we got in it. We all carried, I had the little small one. I had me a little small phone number book with all my numbers in it. Yeah. You don't want no girl to get that mug either. You got to make sure your girl don't catch. That's dangerous if your girl find that book. Man, I used to date this girl, man. She used to always bust me, man. She was so in love with me. I think she just had some sort of damn, like, telepathy and shit. Because, man, I'd be careful. And I still get busted. She busts me. What's the worst time you got busted? Worst time I got busted by I was dating these two girls at the same time. And the new girl, her sister, it was at the opening of Coming to America. No, it was Eddie Murphy's movie. What's that movie? Boomerang. It was opening of Boomerang. Yeah, it was Boomerang. And it was like a line of people, you know, outside. That was back, you know, when you went to the movie theater, it'd be a line wrapped around the building outside. And so we didn't wait in that long line with this girl. I get in there, man, I'm getting popcorn. I look across the room, and it's the girl's sister. And she looked at me and smiled, and then she looked and seen who I was with, and I seen this frown. She ran straight for the payphone. I'm trying to hurry up and get into the movie, man. This girl's sister, man, she aired me out in front of everybody. Threw popcorn and drinks on me. I got busted. Like that's the worst time I ever got busted. I got busted bad. But you know what? They both stayed with me. Didn't nobody go nowhere. That's when I knew I was a player. That's when I knew. That's when I was born. Because I got busted like that and they both stayed. Player. You know what I'm saying? Why you gonna leave me? Shoot. Look good, money, ain't going nowhere. Neither one of y'all going nowhere. You ain't been going nowhere. You've been right there too. Ain't going nowhere. He said Lawnmower Man was the only movie I ever walked out during. I think it even flopped. Man, Lawnmower Man, you crazy. That's just because you didn't have the intelligence to understand it. Lawnmower Man was a good movie. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see what the rating is on Lawnmower Man. Well, that's supposed to be something because you walked out of it. Let me see what they give it a review. Oh, they did give it a low review, 5.5. It was a good movie though. Lawnmower, a simple man is turned into a genius through the application of computer science. That was a good movie. That movie was better than a 5.5. It was. Y'all watch the movie. Don't pay no attention now. Y'all watch it. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Because it was dealing with the integration of human consciousness with the computer, which allegedly they have been able to do. I know they've been able to do it. But it was an interesting movie. It was a good movie. Lawnmower Man was a good movie. He said your rubbers fell out the pocket. Oh man, rubbers, yeah, that's not really getting busted, man. You know, you can make an excuse for that. It's if you got one that's open, that's laying on the ground or somewhere. That's gonna get you. Boy, you left it in the trash can. That's what everybody learned to flush them down the commode. You know, you had to learn, get busted a couple of times. Oh, you're supposed to flush these down the commode. Yeah. Love should have brought you home out. Roller skating. Yeah, roller skating on Sunday, man. They still do that here in Dallas. Man, I should have went tonight. No, it was yesterday, Sunday night. I'm gonna try to go. I got my skates too. I got me some skates. I'm just kind of overweight, but I need to probably go get me some exercise. Give me some exercise, man. Or she counts them. Or she counting them. Yeah, man, you know, it's like, nah. But you know what? I was happy. The way these women is playing men today, I think we have to go back to our player mode. I was happier as a player. It wasn't until I started trying to be a good man that I started having heartache and headaches. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you calling me a big ox? Is that what you calling me, a big ox? He's a fan, though. I was about to block him for being disrespectful, but he a fan. You know, he ain't got nothing better to do, y'all. He got nothing better to do. But I do feel like that. I feel like, you know what? When I was a player, life was simple, wasn't it? Being a player, you know, just kind of like having that attitude like nobody, in your mind, just no woman could just lock you down like that emotionally. You know, it was like, those were good times. Okay, let's see. Worked for 28 minutes, 47 seconds. Okay, let me see. Well, the complete original. Therefore, this is a reconstructed master edition, not a sentence by sentence redraft. Both versions have been rendered and visually checked page by page. Revised. Let me see what it says right here. Okay, that's pretty good. How many pages is it? Okay, preface. Okay, let's see what we came up with. I just weren't with the right woman. That's all. Oh, I wasn't with the right woman. Women do give man headaches. You know what? There's a saying we got saying right now. All men work to give a woman a life she's never had, and then once you give it to her, you figure out why she never had it. That's what we're saying right now. It's like, now I understand why you never had this life. You won't. Because you don't deserve it. You do not deserve it. No, you do not deserve this life. Let me see if that's my documents. All right, let me put this back in Claude, see what Claude say real quick. I'll throw this back on the screen. Let's see what Claude say. No, man, analyze this. Analyze that, man. Really? Oh, man. You want me to do all that? Let me read it. Okay, let me read it first. Let me see. It did give it to me, and it must be long. Let's see how long this thing is. Let me read this public. Let me put this on the screen. Let y'all read it with me. Is that it? No, that's not it either. Let's see. That's not it. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's see. We got public notice. Okay, this is what it came out with. All right, SPC, the Common Law Framework, Foundations, Classification, and Courtroom Application. Foundations before remedies, posture before position, substance before form. A doctrinal and procedural teaching manual for classification, issue spotting, and record discipline. Public notice and education disclaimer. This revised edition is an educational publication of SPC University. It is designed to teach legal classification, constitutional structure, common law history, remedies, procedural posture, and research discipline. It is not a substitute for advice from a licensed attorney who has reviewed the facts, governing law, local rules, deadlines, and procedural posture of a particular matter. Court rules differ by jurisdiction. Federal rules cited in this manual are used to illustrate general procedural concepts. They do not automatically control state proceedings. Personal jurisdiction, service, venue, jury entitlement, preservation, appeal deadlines, and available remedies can vary materially by form. The prior edition used a Sixth Amendment framework to analyze some private rights and civil jury questions. This edition replaces that framework with two distinct tracks. One, criminal prosecution analysis under the Sixth Amendment, including the criminal versus civil classification of sanctions, and two, civil jury versus public rights analysis under the Seventh Amendment and Article III doctrine. The distinction is central to the revised teaching method. A strong legal argument begins by identifying the kind of proceeding, the source of the right, the nature of the remedy, and the procedural posture. Labels are a starting point, not a substitute for analysis. That's all they do in the echo chambers is throw around labels. What this edition is designed to fix, the purpose of this edition is not to abandon the original teaching framework. It is to make the framework legally cleaner, easier to teach, and safer to apply. The central insight remains valuable. The absence of a private injured party can help classify a proceeding, but it does not automatically deprive a court of jurisdiction. The revised framework asks what kind of right is being enforced, who is enforcing it, what remedy is sought, and what constitutional protections follow from that classification. This edition also separates doctrinal explanation from courtroom application. The first four parts explain legal categories. The later parts show how those categories affect timing, objections, motions, record preservation, and language. The objective is to stop students from using conclusions as slogans. A conclusion must be tied to a rule, a source, a procedural vehicle, and a record. The book uses short authority weight tags so students can distinguish controlling law from historical material and teaching heuristics. A 19th century dictionary may illuminate historical usage, but it is not binding authority. A Supreme Court holding may control a federal constitutional issue, but its application can still depend on posture, remedy, and form. An SPC teaching rule can organize analysis, but it does not create a legal right. Text, constitutional, statutory, rule text, okay, binding, Supreme Court of the United States ruling, federal, historical, this is nice. Table of contents, what common law is and not, law, equity, statute, and constitution, contracts, private ordering, and contract clause, injury standard and no injured party, classification, public rights, public private rights and remedies, public rights and private rights and remedies, the remedy lens, legal, equitable, compensatory, and punitive, Article 3 and non-Article 3 adjudication. Yeah, I got to go through this. Got to go all through this and see what has changed. Well, no, it says substantially the same, but I want to look at it. I was talking about Minority Report the other day. I thought that tech was advanced, but we have gone beyond that now. We have more chances for players to end up with the clap without the applause. It is. It really is. You know what? I often think, I really thought, and it goes for men and women. As a man, how can you sleep with somebody else's woman? Because it's like, what if she gave him a blowjob that morning? Or what if he had sex with her that early that day? And then you come right behind him and have sex with her too? Do you think about those type of things? Because she have to, and then as a woman, how can you allow different men to ejaculate in you? You don't think that's kind of nasty? That's kind of nasty. I'm not here to judge, but I just kind of wonder about those things. It's like people just do things and they don't really think about the ramifications of it. But as I'm older now, I'm not trying to sleep with a woman behind some other man and all this kind of, and then all these DNA tests is coming. You don't know who the father is. I mean, you letting multiple men ejaculate inside of you. That's kind of like that's nasty, girl. That's nasty. You nasty if you letting somebody do that. You nasty. Don't look for a husband. You're gonna have a hard time getting one. Let people do that. That's nasty, man. Multiple men ejaculate in you. Then you don't know who the father is. It's nasty. You never done that? Somebody, what, you putting in a bid or something? Who is this? Jake Overload. You trying to put in a bid? Let me see what you look like. Let me see what you look like. Send something to my inbox. Let me see it. Send me your Instagram link. See what you look like. You're gonna put in a bid. You never done that? Okay. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button. How many people we got? 69. It's late at night. Ain't nobody gonna be up listening to me this time of night. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get over here real quick. Let me see if I can do it another way. Okay, yeah, here is the Word document. It's only 15 pages, man. What's up? Yeah, it's only 15 pages. I'm having trouble. Okay, that's the revised part. So let me do it like this then. Let me bring this back over. I don't know what it was talking about. It's saying this thing is too big. It makes it too big. Let's see. Okay, it's analyzing that now. Let me get back over here. I'm looking at y'all on the TV. I never understood how a woman doesn't know who her baby daddy is. I mean, I thought about that. I mean, you sleep, they be like the rap, they be bragging. The rap today is all about bragging. I hit your girl and everything. Like that is a flex or something. It's not a flex to sleep with a loose woman. That's not a flex. The flex is if you can get you a woman that's loyal to you and, only you. That is the flex today. It's not, that you slept with somebody's woman. That's easy to do. And I don't know, you have to think about that too. Like what goes around comes around. Would you want that to happen to you? You sleep with somebody's woman and then somebody come and sleep with your woman. Is that what you want? You want to get caught up in that? Because what goes around comes around. It's going to be something done to you. Even if you choose not to have a woman, you still got to pay. It's going to be something that's going to be comparable to that's going to happen to you. You don't get away with anything. Fornication does imply more than BCI. I would definitely agree with that. I would agree with that. It's after hour. I never understood. Yeah, sloppy second. I just kind of. Oh yeah, the movie Forbidden Planet. That was a good movie too. I got to download some of this stuff y'all talking about. I was trying to download some movies. They be sending me letters. My internet company, you downloading illegal movies. Now I didn't even download a movie. I have one of those Ugreen servers. Man, those things are nice. Having you a server at the house because I can watch all my movies. I upload on there and I can watch them on any TV in the house now. They nice. Get your Ugreen server if you can afford it. But it definitely is something nice to have your own server in your home. That's nice. Yeah, I finished the document. I mean, well, I was just reading it. What you talking about? I finished it. I was just reading it. I ain't gonna read y'all the whole document. Not online. You had to come to SPC University to get that. My students pay money to get this information. I'm not gonna give it away free on the internet. Okay, I'm just reading what Claude said. He said, I read the full revised edition and spot checked every citation in Appendix A against the reporters. This is substantially different and much better document below what's verified fixed than what's still open, ordered by now, much as it would cost a student. All 10 citations corrections landed, and the pen sites are accurate, including the ones that required real care. The watermark Sixth Amendment image is gone. The only embedded graphic is the SPC logo. No unedited model. Okay, one correction running the other way. I wrote Blanchard versus City of Las Vegas in North Las Vegas with the revision has right in both body and appendix. My error, your document caught it. Okay. Publication notice stated plainly that the prior edition used the wrong amendment. Good. Chapter 10.3, noting that the Seventh Amendment was never incorporated, is the kind of detail that separates a real manual from a competent one. Nearly every popular treatment of the private rights / jury argument gets this wrong. 6.3, you didn't just delete Cap's exposure. You explain what the original phrasing was wrong and what the record actually does. That paragraph is a teaching artifact in itself. Remaining structural problems. Track A rests on a transplant. Chapter 8 builds a Track A on Hudson, but Hudson is a double jeopardy case. It's two-step legislative intent. Okay. These matters because of Appendix B. The fix is small. Add Ward as the origin site, stating 8.1 that the test developed in double jeopardy and self-incrimination context. Okay, SB, the gap that will actually hurt a student incorporation and asymmetry. Chapter 10.3 carefully establishes that the Seventh Amendment doesn't reach state courts. Nowhere does the document state that the Sixth Amendment jury right does. For a two-track framework taught primarily to people appearing in a state, municipal, and traffic court, the asymmetry is the most consequential structural fact in the entire book. And a careful reader could come away with the opposite inference from 10.3 silence, added to chapter 9.1 text mining, and consider a short table, 6 incorporating. Y'all not going to be interested in reading all this stuff, man. Trust me. You want to read this all stuff I got to do working on this book. Saving the suitor's clause, unsighted holding, criminal fines. Damn. Their scripts are entirely gone. Commercially distinctive, okay, prior edition. I don't think the answer is restoring the scripts. I think it's a chapter 23 that teaches specific objection construction as a transferable skill, identifying the ruling, name the ground, cite the rules, state the requested action, secure ruling on the record, then run that pattern across 6 or 8 concrete situations. Hearsay authentication, insufficient evidence, lack of foundation, exceeding statutory authority, denial of jury demand. Same practical value as the old scripts, but on Rule 103 and Rule 51 rather than a story. Okay. It had a lot to say. Okay, chat, it still didn't like what you said. Well, it liked a lot what you said, but it's telling you still got some work to do. So let me, I'm gonna tell Claude to do it. Okay. Probability, what book? Thank you. I miss LimeWire. I never used LimeWire. I used BearShare. BearShare was the bomb. But now you got, you still have Pirate Bay. Pirate Bay still here. Pirate Bay, but LimeWire. A lot of people use LimeWire, but BearShare to me was better than LimeWire. BearShare was a beast. BearShare was a beast. Stremio works good. Stremio works good. Okay. Let me see. it finished the document, but it's still not perfected. We running it, I'm running it back again. What's right going on with the young Jim? Pirate Bay will never die. Yeah, they tried to arrest him, raid him. They moved over to an island or somewhere. Some island is where they at. They're outside everybody's jurisdiction. So they could not. They tried to kill Pirate Bay, but they weren't able to. They tried to. Kodi, Kodi is if you want to watch all these movies, just download Kodi if you download Kodi off of let me show y'all something. I probably shouldn't do this. They probably gonna make me, I ain't gonna do that. They probably could take my channel down. But download Kodi, Kodi, and then get on the internet and see how to program it. Infinite proxies, too. I never heard of them. Infinite proxies, I never heard of them. Back in the day, let me tell you, the internet was fire when it first started. I've been on the internet since it came out. And when it first came out, it was so much freer. You could get so much more information off the internet than you can now. A lot of the stuff now, they've commercialized it to a very, very great degree. But when it first started out, it was the Wild Wild West. It was the Wild Wild West. It was nice. In the 90s, the internet had a lot of information you could get. It was awesome. You could get a lot of stuff off the internet in the 90s, man. Wow, it was so much that now everybody just stay on social media. Everybody just on social media. They got y'all all corralled on these social media platforms now. Man, but back in the day, I used to hang on the hackers. I used to get all type of encryption technology. I was there when they started MP3. Hackers started MP3. Hackers started Linux. The Linux, that was started by hackers. All this stuff started in the hacker community, and then it bled over into, because back then, the reason they had MP3, because MP3 is a compression technology. And back then, the internet was slow. It'd take you all day just to download one song. So then they compressed the song from like 75 megabytes down to 3 megabytes. So you can download music. That's what it started as, a downloading music type of thing, because people were ripping their CDs and taking the music off their CDs and compressing them and putting them on a thumb drive. It was nice back then. Yeah, it was nice, man. The internet was nice in the 90s. It was nice. It's not as, it's a place to conduct business now. If you're in the business, conduct your business, but it's not no place where you're gonna find, some stuff, These women on here talking and everything. Yahoo Chat was fire too. Yeah, Yahoo Chats was fire. It was. Yahoo Chat was. Yahoo used to be kind of nice. I had the email. Now, they fell off bad. Yahoo fell off, man. They fell off. I remember when Gmail first came out. That's why I got my Gmail name is my name and everything, because I got my Gmail account. Because back then, how they were doing Gmail, they kind of did it on a network marketing kind of thing, a referral type thing, when it first started off, and Gmail blew the fuck up. Everybody said it was government. The G stand for government. And that might be true. I don't know. Hey, look, I got to get off, man. I've been on here an hour and a half. It's 1 o'clock. It's been great. It's been fantastic, but I got to get my sleep. So I have to get to sleep. But it's been nice. I would say, hey, go to watch that Al Bielek video on the time traveling, where he's talking about what the future is going to be like with AI. He's telling you what they're going to be doing with these AIs in the future is very, very interesting. And they kind of made a movie out of it. That movie that talking about how in the future we're going to be judged by AIs. That's what Al Bielek was talking about 10 years ago before this movie ever came out. This is why I say, if y'all listen to the things I say, you'll see where they're getting all the information to make these movies on. You think they that creative and they just pulling it out of their head? Nah, they got information, man. They got information. You know, the truth is stranger than fiction. Yes, it is. Anyway, I will see y'all tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace to the God.